Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another sort of opinion video. Now, basically some news hit while I was away in Poland and Prague. This kind of hit around sort of the 8th of September. And I wanted to weigh in on it, and I wanted to sort of give my opinions on it. And I'm sure you guys are interested, and I'm very interested to hear what your opinion is on it. So basically, over that week when I was away, there was this huge thing that happened online, which was, you probably heard about it, but there is a video game journalist by the name of Dean Takahashi who works for VentureBeat, and he basically went to the Gamescom conference and got hands-on with Cuphead. Now, he basically released about a 26-27 minute video footage of him playing the game, and to be fair, when you watch it, it is pretty cringeworthy. It's pretty shockingly bad, some of the gameplay, and he wasn't really sort of reading instructions. Basically, when he released the video, he sort of said that when he released it, it was just supposed to be like a spoof, a comedy video, kind of poking fun at himself and how bad he was at playing these games, because these are not the sorts of games that he usually plays. So Dean sort of said he's not really much of a platformer, he doesn't really play side-scrolling games, and he tends to be more of a first-person shooter, strategy, simulation sort of genre type gamer. And he did sort of say that, you know, usually those sorts of games are covered by one of his co-workers, a guy by the name of Mike Minotti, who would actually be doing the full review of Cuphead when it comes out at the end of September. Well, he uploaded this video online, and I have to say the backlash against this video has kind of been ridiculous, and a lot of people were sort of raising the question as to whether or not you need to be a good gamer in order to be able to review video games, in order to earn a living as a video game journalist. And a lot of people were throwing, you know, barbs at Dean and sort of saying, you really shouldn't be a journalist, you should be sacked, you're earning a living and you're no good at games, how can you review them when you can't play them? Well, I want to weigh in and give my opinion on these people, and I think these people are absolutely ridiculous, and there are a few reasons why I think that. Now, video game journalists and video game reporters have a pretty tough job. There is a lot of pressure on them in terms of producing articles. I think Dean said over his 27 year career as a video gamer and a video game journalist, over his 9.5 year career at VentureBeat, he's written over 14,000 articles, about 30 articles a week, and he generally does around sort of 12 to 14 reviews on a yearly basis. So he's a really busy guy, and he has been playing games for a very, very long time. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much work and how much effort goes into being a video game journalist. And I don't think they realize that it is a craft. You know, you are a writer, you are a journalist. And I think the most important thing is your knowledge, your ability to write, and also your impartiality. And, you know, a lot of video game journalists would probably say that they don't get to play as many games as they'd like to do so they don't get to sort of practice and hone their skills and all those sorts of things. So I kind of feel really bad for Dean, because I think he's been given a really hard time. Now, when it comes to being a journalist or a reviewer, if you look at other sorts of sports, like for example, football games, in order to be a football commentator and a reviewer and a reporter, you're not expected to be a Premier League international football star. You're not expected to have won all of these trophies, all of these rewards. The same when you're writing reviews on music, you know, and music news. You're not expected to be a world famous artist, a world famous musician, or able to write your own music, that sort of thing. The same when you're reviewing movies. You're not expected to be a fantastic director or a great actor. So I don't know why people seem to think that in order to be a good journalist that you need to be a good video game player. I think that argument is completely flawed. I think it's just absolutely stupid that they would argue this point. That is my genuine opinion. For me, to be a good journalist and to be a good reviewer and to review a video game, there are a few things that I do think are incredibly important. Firstly, you need to have good knowledge. You need to have a lot of experience in the game industry. You need to have good knowledge on the developers, on the game that you're reviewing, on the game that you're reporting on. Your news, your information needs to be cutting edge, and it needs to be accurate. There is so much news out there that is complete BS, lies, rumors. So it's really important to get your facts correct. When it comes to reviewing a video game as well, I 100% believe, and this is what I do for my channel, I will not review a game until I have played 100%, maybe 80% at the minimum of that game. And I will not review that game until I've played every single element I can do to make sure that my reviews are fair, are impartial, and are balanced. And I believe that wholeheartedly, that you know, to be a good reviewer, it's more about your ability to analyze, your ability to critically analyze a game, to look at its flaws, to look at its strengths, and to give a fair and balanced opinion. I felt that way with every game I reviewed. I especially felt that way with Mass Effect Andromeda, which I thought had kind of a really sort of bad rep, and was sort of, a lot of people were unnecessarily harsh, and yeah, it had its flaws, but it wasn't a terrible game by any standard, and I actually enjoyed playing it, even with all its sort of its flaws and its weaknesses. So I think that is incredibly important when it comes to a reviewer. Now, obviously, I'm not completely defending his gameplay. You know, it was pretty bad, but I can kind of relate to the pressures that he might have been feeling. And even as myself, when I do a lot of Let's Play videos, a lot of live streaming, when there is a camera on you, when you are giving a commentary, when you are recording gameplay, there is a degree of pressure there. There is a degree of a sort of distraction. You're always sort of constantly aware of the fact that you're being recorded, constantly aware of the fact that you want to try to make the game look interesting and cover all the best bits. And sometimes that can lead to missing really obvious elements in the game, whether it's following particular instructions, reading instructions, going through menus, reading codexes, missing collectibles, missing points. It's really easy to miss those things when you are doing a Let's Play, when you are recording gameplay. And obviously, it's a lot easier if you're just watching a video to notice those points. So I can kind of relate to him a little bit, where he might have been feeling that pressure, that time constraint, especially if it's a genre that he's not particularly confident in or particularly familiar in. So I can kind of relate. I can kind of understand that. Now, I do think one of the things that, and Dante made this argument, and it's quite an interesting argument, but when you obviously are playing a game, it is a fully hands-on experience. Video gaming is like no other genre. So, you know, when you're watching a movie or you're listening to a song, you just soak that in. You take that on board, but you're not actually involved in the art form. You're not involved in that experience. You know, you're not experiencing that movie yourself, making decisions and playing that movie. It's just something that you watch and you enjoy. Well, video gaming is very different. So, for example, if you are playing a game and you are really struggling with it and you're finding it really difficult and you keep dying all the time, and you might have quite a negative experience playing that game. And now, of course, if you're not a fair and impartial and good reviewer, then that could definitely cloud your opinion of that game, and it also could cloud your review of that game. And we have seen that happen when it comes to some online reviewers. For example, many of you might know Jimquisition. When he was playing Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, he came across a pretty game-breaking glitch or bug. It was to do with a torch that you had to pick up while playing the single player, and if you missed this touch, pretty much the game became unplayable. You couldn't progress any further. Now, for me, I don't know how he missed the touch, because I think it was incredibly obvious where you pick it up when playing the story. But you know, when he sort of brought out his first initial review of Hellblade, he gave it like a 1 or 2 out of 10. Now, having played that game all the way through, that score is completely unacceptable. And that for me, that review was incredibly unprofessional. It was clouded by his experience. He hadn't completed the full game. Therefore, you can't possibly review it fairly. Now, he did go back and he did play the game all the way through, and he did apologize afterwards and did say that his initial review perhaps was unprofessional. And I think eventually he gave it like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. But, you know, if you are struggling with a game, absolutely, that could affect your review. So some people might argue in that way that that obviously you need to be relatively good at a game so that you can complete it, you can play it, you can experience all the best parts of it. And maybe that might be an argument that they make, but I still think your experiences, obviously they cloud it to a degree, but you still have to be able to sort of step out of that game and review it you know, in a fair way. And I think that's really, really important. What really this has kind of indicated to me is just how crap the internet is, and how some people, there's this trend at the moment in the video game industry where people just think it's okay to troll other people and to basically put other people down if they're not as good at playing a game as yourself. You know, if they don't get 28 kills in a Call of Duty game and 1 death, you know, if their kill death ratio isn't up there, if they can't, you know, if they die a few times, if they can't play the game as good as you, they're really shit. And a lot of people seem to take, you know, pleasure in putting other people down because it makes them feel better about themselves. And I really hate that dynamic in the video game community at the moment. As far as I'm concerned, we're all gamers. Everybody has varying degrees of abilities. Some people are better at RPGs than they are at first-person shooters. Some people prefer strategy. Some people prefer puzzle solving, side scrollers or platform games, you know, and you might be really good at one genre and really suck at another genre. And you know what? There is nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And, you know, I think rather than putting each other down, let's encourage everybody to enjoy games, to play it, whatever your ability is, whether you've been playing video games for 28 years, 30 years, whether you've just jumped on and you're a brand new gamer. Who cares about your ability? It's about your experiences, about enjoying games. Games are supposed to be fun. They're supposed to be enjoyable. And I've always believed that. And I do believe that if at any point I stop enjoying playing video games, I stop enjoying writing reviews, and it becomes tedious for me, that is when I will stop doing my channel, because I've always believed that games should be fun. And I do not think that you need to be a good gamer in order to be a good reviewer. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think good reviewers need to have intelligence, need to have knowledge, need to be impartial, need to be fair, and need to play 100% of that game to do a fair, balanced, analytical review. And I've always thought that way. So those are my thoughts generally on that topic. What do you guys think of this? What are your thoughts on the response to this gameplay at Gamescom? What are your thoughts on the accusations that have been made against Dean? Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts generally are on this. I hope you guys are having a great week anyway. I'll be back again later with more videos on my channel. I've got lots of things planned, multiple reviews in the works, and lots of great things coming. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Take care, and as always, happy gaming. Bye guys. Very interested to hear what your opinion is on it. So basically, over that week when I was away, there was this huge thing that happened online, which was, you probably heard about it, but there is a video game journalist by the name of Dean Takahashi who works for VentureBeat, and he basically went to not really much of a platformer. He doesn't really play side-scrolling games, and he tends to be more of a first-person shooter, strategy, simulation sort of genre type gamer. And he did sort of say that, you know, usually those sorts of games are covered by one of his co-workers, a guy by the name Reading Instructions. Basically, when he released the video, he sort of said that when he released it, it was just supposed to be like a spoof, a comedy video, kind of poking fun at himself and how bad he was at playing these games, because these are not the sorts of games that he usually plays. So Dean sort of said he's not Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Hope you guys are having a great week. So I'm back today with another sort of opinion video. Now, basically some news hit while I was away in Poland and Prague. This kind of hit around sort of the 8th of September. And I wanted to weigh in on it and I wanted to sort of give my opinions on it. And I'm sure you guys are interested. And I'm at the Gamescom conference and got hands-on with Cuphead. Now, he basically released about a 27 minute video footage of him playing the game, and to be fair, when you watch it, it is pretty cringeworthy. It's pretty shockingly bad, some of the gameplay, and he wasn't really sort of